Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, so let's begin. First up, man accused of stealing truck speeding from Manchester to Hooksett. Police say man knocked down signs, hit telephone pole. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
The New Hampshire Department of Corrections has immediate openings for corrections officers. Apply today.
This is the pickup that 54-year-old Maurice Belmore of Manchester allegedly stole. Witnesses telling police Belmore walked into the Hanover Hill maintenance garage around 11:20 Thursday morning.
He got into a pickup truck and he drove right through the door of the garage and just took off on a high rate of speed.
Leaving behind a busted garage door, and that was just the beginning. You can still see the marks where Belmore allegedly drove over the curb and headed up the hill.
He was going the wrong way on Tarrytown Road. He had sideswiped a telephone pole. A stop sign was also run over.
Police say it's fortunate that no one was injured, as they say Belmore was speeding and driving recklessly.
He wasn't even on the road fully. He had two tires up on the sidewalk, and that's why he was able to hit those signs and the telephone pole.
About 10 minutes after stealing the truck, Hooksett police say Belmore pulled into the shooter's outpost. Hooksett police stopped him there and say that Belmore showed visible signs of impairment to the point where he was unable to perform a field sobriety test.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire. Health officials seek man who might have been exposed to rabies after he helped raccoons. Man drove vehicle with Massachusetts plates, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The New Hampshire Department of Corrections has immediate openings for corrections officers. Apply today.
Well, right now, the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services is looking for a man they say came into contact with a raccoon that had rabies. On September 20th, DHHS says the man stopped on Route 16 to remove 2 baby raccoons from the road in Conway. Police say they're looking for the man to find out if he needs treatment to prevent him from having rabies. He is described as being 5'8" and approximately in his 30s. Police say he was wearing a dark t-shirt and jeans. Anybody with information is asked to call the Bureau of Infectious Diseases.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Friday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Friday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the red and went down. Oil closed in the green and went up. U.S. 10-year closed in the green and went up. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VAX closed in the red and went down. Dow jumps 300 points after Trump says U.S. has trade deal with China that will come in phases. Stocks rallied on Friday after President Donald Trump said China and the U.S. reached the first phase of a substantial trade deal that delays tariff hikes that were set to kick off next week. Multiple fires break out across California. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
We are going to begin with that growing fire emergency in California. Multiple blazes breaking out across the state, fast-moving fires shutting down major highways and destroying homes.
You're looking live at the KABC chopper flying over Los Angeles County right now, and Matt Gutman, he's on the ground in Porter Ranch, California, bringing us the story. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Michael. This is an incredibly dangerous situation. Once you see this fire down below, it's engulfed this entire valley. We've been here for about 25 minutes or so, and we've seen hundreds of acres consumed in this entire area. Now, down there, that's the San Fernando Valley. Millions of people live there. The wind blowing at 30 miles an hour. Watch those embers being whipped around. And all around us, there are fires right in those hillsides being completely engulfed by this wind and the embers that are going up. And just minutes ago, we saw police officers going door to door, telling people to get out and get out now. The scene this morning, apocalyptic. Firefighters rolling in, many engulfed in curtains of smoke. Their hoses not enough to douse this inferno. The hellscapes here fueled by winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Watch how quickly the wind whips the smoke from this fire onto a major freeway. The fire's gridlocking rush hour traffic as thousands were forced to evacuate. This family cutting it close.
You can't even see. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. What you don't want to do is get trapped in something like this.
Narrowly escaping the encroaching flames. Overnight, we went into that trailer park where so many homes were still ablaze.
Sounds like a machine gun is going off in there.
Those pops?
That's ammunition inside the house. Firefighters here are absolutely overwhelmed. What they're trying to do is prevent this fire from spreading farther and save these other homes just across the way.
Police later declaring it a crime scene.
It may be hard to make out what that was, but it was somebody's car. This was their truck. This was a trailer, and behind me was an entire neighborhood, all gone.
Children at a nearby school sheltering in place, cowering as the windstorm brought the fire dangerously close. Jack Bradley spiriting his daughters out of there.
I take off on foot, basically around all of them, because I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm getting to the school. Got my daughter, got a couple other kids that were with her that I know, and got them out of there.
Massive destruction. Despite unprecedented precautions, utilities companies shutting off the power to millions in California ahead of that critical fire weather. But that trailer park fire started when a trash truck caught fire.
The trash load was dumped off to the side of the road, ignited the vegetation, and then obviously the fire spread from there.
Because this fire has been moving so quickly, and you can see those embers just in a tornado behind me, firefighters and police just haven't been able to assess the damage. Right now, they're still just going door to door. In fact, you can see them right behind us, but they haven't been able to assess how many homes destroyed and whether or not any people have been harmed in this. But clearly, this is going to go on for some time. This isn't going away anytime soon, guys.
And Matt, we know you mentioned the wind, and which makes it very hard to fight these fires. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the wind conditions out there?
You know, I don't have an exact number of how fast they are, but the way the wind is swirling, Michael, down in this canyon and through these ridge tops, it's got to be 35, 40 miles an hour, and there's nothing that firefighters can do to stop that. These embers are going miles into the air, and again, everywhere in that direction, which is completely consumed by smoke, and that curtain of smoke, I'm standing in fire, so I'll probably get out of that, but everywhere in that direction are homes, so we are bound to see more homes catch fire, and hopefully, nobody will get hurt in this, and everybody's evacuated just, excuse me, like they were asked to. Michael?
All right, we don't need you to get hurt either, Matt, so take care of yourself out there. Don't stand in fire. That is always key. All right, thank you, Matt Gutman.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, everyone, and bye.